it's 10 after. Do you want to start the meeting? And if someone else comes, I guess I don't think there's any action that we're taking unless someone has something later on that we have to, but we can at least start the meeting so no one has to sit here and wait any longer.
Yeah, we could do that. Do you have the schedule? Don't see
Yes,
it.
yes, I do. And I'll just say the meeting has been properly advertised, especially given the pandemic and the WebEx. I have the roll call. So the next thing is, I don't think there's anyone here from the public except for the Franklin Reporter. So unless he wants to say anything, I guess not. Uh, we'll move on to the zoning subcommittee. I have a couple things to report. Number one is that council at their meeting of last week introduced an ordinance, the Levin property on Hamilton Street, the shopping center. I think most of you, I've sent you the ordinance. It's a very large piece of property. Let me back up for a second. All of the properties, or almost all the properties in the HBD zone basically go back one block, a couple hundred feet, maybe a little bit further, depending if the property. The only property that goes back significantly further is the Levin property with the shopping center. It's 5 or 6 acres in the back. So from a planning perspective, it's a little bit strange that that is the only property we're very, very consistent through the rest of the district that we go back approximately, one block, a couple hundred feet. So council introduced an ordinance last Tuesday that will be on for public hearing and adoption on April 26th that basically draws the line at that about 200 foot, the one block. So the whole back of portion of that property owned by Levin would now, or in a little over a month, will be zoned R7, which is what surrounds that entire back piece of property. It's all R7, which is single family residential, 7,500 square foot lots, instead of being in the HBD zone. So they introduced that last week. All the public notices for the property owners and the 200-foot list will be going out shortly, and the public hearing will be at the council meeting on April 26th.
Now, if you don't mind me asking, what was the purpose of rezoning that?
Well, the purpose of the rezoning is so that that property will be more in conformance with the rest of the zone. The impetus, because from a planning perspective, it's the only property. The impetus for this was that there is a proposed developer of the property next door and the back of the Levin property.
Ah,
So it was thought
okay.
that instead of having, excuse me, an apartment complex, a 4-story apartment complex in the middle of a sea of R7, and that it would be more appropriate to rezone it and have that property, if developed, in accordance with what surrounds it. So
And
the rationale is a planning rationale, but the impetus, the reason for it being done now was because there is a proposed developer for the site.
that's proposing single family homes in the area.
No,
That is
they were proposing an apartment building.
not a mixed use.
Well, it would be mixed use, yes. Actually,
I thought,
two buildings and a parking garage, about 400 units.
I thought R7 was strictly residential only, no?
Yeah, but it's right now it's zoned HBD. So
Right, which is
it's
mixed use.
permitted to
Yeah.
have mixed use, which is what they were going to propose. By rezoning it to R7, they can no longer, by right, without having to go to the zoning board, and obviously going to the zoning board with an application where a piece of property was just recently rezoned is typically not received very well by the zoning board. So basically it
Seems odd
tells,
that they would want to get that rezoned for residential only when, a mixed use building would be more of a lucrative thing, but okay.
well, the idea, if I mean, I will not speak for council, but I can tell you the rationale is from a purely planning perspective, you typically don't put, uh, apartment complexes in the middle of a single family residential when, especially, and the other rationale is that no other property in the HBD for the whole mile goes that deep.
Right.
So,
Well, that I definitely agree with. It just
yeah.
who did council propose that, or did the developer propose it?
Oh, the developer didn't propose it because the developer now can't do what he wants to do. He wanted to
Oh,
put an apartment complex,
right.
two
Yeah.
buildings and a parking garage, and now he can't do it. So the council had asked that the ordinance be prepared, and it was prepared, and they introduced it.
The reason why Vince took a good course in this is because right in the middle of the fourth ward, you would have apartment buildings. And looking at that, as many units as Vince said, my schools would be messed. And then transportation, moving them around with that many apartments and vehicles would create a nightmare. Now, we all know they have a traffic engineer who's already figured out how the people will move. If you take the building across the street from Tropical Food Market, I believe, and they didn't have enough parking, and they went around looking for parking. And I guess you were there when one of the avenues was trying to rent parking across the street in Levin's property or something like that. So no, this was not a good mix for the fourth ward, and I want to thank for going after them.
Can I ask can I ask a question real quick?
Sure.
Okay, so just from a just from an outside point of view, for not doing this, how much does this hurt what we're doing on Hamilton Street? That's the first thing. The second portion is that what is the actual assessments that we did over the last 3 to 5 years that we paid for? What does that say? And the third question is that from the county point of view, because we're on a county road, which is what Hamilton Street is, what was the prognosis from what the county input was for that roadways and the traffic patterns that were actually there? Do we have that study?
Well, let me start. Let me start with the first one. You asked how did it hurt the plan? Well, from a planning, as I mentioned, from a planning perspective, the street is consistent except for this property. So from a planning perspective, we've made the zoning more consistent. This, what was the second question, Ben?
Well, the traffic portion was the studies and stuff. That's one of the questions I asked during the time frame. What is the county? Because this is county road. I think it's 527, correct? Is that county road 527? Is that 527 or 537 that we're on right now?
I honestly, I don't know. I know it's the county road, but I don't quite understand
So the whole portion is that, like, from this is just how I look from the outside point of view. So we talk about we need the Main Street development. We want to encourage stuff. We've said this multiple times for the last 7 to 10 years. I don't really, like I said, developers, and I understand Mr. Wright's point of view as far as developers and saturation and things that are going on there. The question I always have is that the purpose of what we're trying to do as far as the Main Street is concerned, are we consistent of what we're putting out the messaging to be as far as the Main Street is concerned? That's one thing. The second portion is that with the county road that's actually here, and we're trying to get county buy-in because a lot of times we're carrying weight as a city and we have no county support or buy-in on what we're doing. I want to see that because this is a priority improvement area for the county as fourth ward is period. what kind of support are we getting from that that area to actually support what we're doing? Because the development that we're doing actually affects the county because we are on a county road. And I just want to make sure that we're clear about what we're doing as far as either deterring or getting improvements. Are we getting something else in exchange if we do not do this as far as support is concerned?
Well, I don't, what the zoning change that is proposed really has nothing to do with the county. Nothing at all. I mean, they don't do zoning. The, the 9 members of council make a decision as to how they want things zoned. And they have made, it looks like they will make a decision in a couple weeks and have the property rezoned. I can tell you, as far as the cooperation with the county, that anytime we want to do something, for instance, when we took down the trees, they just let us do it. There's no other county in the state that would let a municipality take down 100 trees. And I'll talk about when we get to later on the agenda about the street tree planting that Councilman Vasanel and I, the board, asked us to deal with in the last couple months, and Jim and I can talk about that later on down the agenda. But the county has been nothing but supportive of us with anything that we wanted to do, as far as allowing us to do pretty much what we want on the street.
Can I bring the map up for a second? Is that okay?
Sure.
So I believe this is the property you're talking about right here.
Yes. You're,
So basically, it's going to cut off here. You're going to rezone this back section.
yes.
Okay, so then all of this would be parking deck.
No, not you see all the wooded area, nothing is going to change. The two
Okay.
shopping centers that you have, the 11 and to the one to the left, are going to stay. If it was not rezoned, but it's going to be rezoned, the proposal was to put a mixed use building, where the property where your arrow is here, not the 11 They would have torn down this smaller shopping center. They would have put a mixed use building. In back of that, there would have been a parking garage. And then to the back of 11, which has 11 properties, one with all the parking in front, and then the rectangular building there, all in the back of that would have been another mixed use building. So there would have been 2 mixed use buildings and a parking garage, approximately 400 apartments.
So this would stay here as a commercial property, correct?
That would stay there. The one to the left would have
This
been
would go away.
torn down, a new mixed use building put on the street, like all the other buildings fairly close to the street,
Mhm.
then a parking garage, and then to the back and to the right of that, where all the trees are, there
Residential.
would have been a second mixed use building.
So this property goes further back than that,
Oh, yeah,
right?
it goes back, almost as far back as the front portion does. Yes, there's 4 or 5 acres or more in the back of,
So
wooded.
then this would still remain in HBD?
Right, everything that is developed would remain HBD.
Okay,
Obviously,
because my concern was that we would lose the contribution if we ever did another assessment, from this large
no,
size property. in this
you
one
would
too.
lose some of the value of the assessment,
Right.
because the backland would not be within the assessment. It would only be the two buildings. So you would lose, the land is valued at like $3 million. So now maybe $1 million, and I'm making the numbers up, would be
Right.
taken off. But the improvements would still be included in the SID assessment. Absolutely.
Okay. That was my reason for sharing that. I just wanted to make sure I was correct.
Yep.
Oh, okay. And the only reason I'm bringing this up, and I just want to make sure I interject real quick, is because there is supposed to be another, and just to compliment Carl Wright's point, is there's supposed to be another 300 units coming up on Jersey Avenue. That's going to be on Route 27, where they're going to be ripping down the other warehouse space. That's going to be in the area that we know about, that's in New Brunswick area. I know that doesn't really have nothing to do with it, but it does have something to do with it because of traffic patterns that we're dealing with. That's supposed to be coming up in the next that's coming up for a proposal in New Brunswick, I think in the next probably 9 months also. So I'm just giving everybody aware of.
I mean, I feel like that may be more of a 27 corridor problem than
Yeah.
a lot of traffic deflection all the way out to Hamilton Street. But you never know. I mean,
No.
sure.
Yeah. So Pat, just to make the point of the congestion portion, because what's happening in the Vince, and I don't want to dominate this conversation, but what's happening, you're gonna have truck drivers. You're gonna have truck drivers on Veronica Avenue. Plus, you're gonna have a whole bunch of other things because there was new warehouse that was just approved over in that area also. So the congestion points of back roads and actually people going back into and from is going to cause a problem regardless of whether or not it's a Route 27 problem or not. It's coming over into our area.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Pat, that's all I have for zoning right now, unless anyone has any questions. The next up would be public safety with Rebecca.
Hi, good evening, everyone.
Yeah.
And I am, I guess so good. We finally met. I guess what's been happening, I guess, is there hasn't been, I guess I want to say congratulatory. There hasn't been that much time, I guess, if you will, happening on Hamilton Street and in the area. We have been, I guess, in other parts of town, mostly where there's the Quicks and the Wawa and whatnot. A lot of people still leave their car running when they go into stores, and we've had a good amount of cars being stolen, particularly at the Wawas. So again, that one's on Somerset Street, and East Avenue. But so we're still trying to encourage people. Number one, don't leave your car running unattended in the store, and of course, again, to still lock your car. A lot of people leave the key fobs, believe it or not, in the car, in their driveway, and the cars come out stolen. So, and most recently, I don't know if you guys were aware, the shooting that we had a few back on Barbershop on Hamilton Street. That person was found guilty. And so that's, I guess, for the most part, for the crime that's happening. For our activities that we're coming up with, the Citizens Academy, our third session starts next Wednesday, the 23rd. So if you do know anyone who is over 18 and interested in learning about what we do, please have them go to the Township's website and our CRB page under that and apply. We're still accepting some applications until I think it's the middle of this week, but we can make exceptions if someone gets a hold of me. We would love for people to come out and again learn what we do. It's a 12-week program, 13 if you wanted to learn CPR and first aid. 2 hours a night, and I remember then also last time we met, some had questions in regards to a like a camera program. So I was able to find out what exactly you were referring to. The program is called Stronger Together, and it was launched several years ago under former Chief Grammer. And so so we're going to relaunch it, hopefully getting quite a few more participants. There were only 2 participants that ever signed up for this program, and one of which is no longer in town. So it is still able to sign up now. It is on the website under the police section. again, that's called Stronger Together. So what I'm going
I think we lost her.
Yeah, I think we lost her. I'm actually this is Captain Sean Heaven. Can you hear me?
Yes, thank you, Sean.
Yeah. Yeah, she I guess she's having some signal issues, but the that program will be relaunching. She's working on the logistics of that currently. So there's I know that that was something that was addressed during the last meeting. But I actually wanted to pop on here today as well because you know, at the end of the day, you know, I just want to put out there, particularly to you know, Hamilton Business District, that the Community Relations Bureau as a whole is, you know, is strategically placed at 935 Hamilton Street for access and ease of the community to take advantage of the things that we have to offer. And now with the opening of the youth center, we have a lot of activities that are going on at the youth center as well, including Franklin Fit basketball program. We have several other things coming. The police department currently is, you know, I will be, you know, the first to say we're doing more community-based, you know, hands-on things within the community in departmental history. The resume of things that we've done since our inception, even through this year, are incredible. I'll stack it up against anyone who will doubt me as to what we have going on and the major levels of you know, effort that we're putting in to be you know, an active, engaged part of the community in our youth and offering services upon services and programs upon programs. Is imperative that the community, particularly the community that that is in that area, to you know, be aware and support these efforts, because where there's support, we make the argument to do more. We have the ability to, you know, to have tons of things that are available, and people are taking notice. I have calls coming in from other police departments interested in knowing the things that we're doing and how we're achieving it, because they want to do it in their own cities and in their own townships. Franklin has gotten the ball rolling on it, and we need to stay on top of it and, you know, continue it going. But it's really going to be crucial for the community to come in and take advantage of that program. You know, of all the programs we have. There's a lot of doubters in town as to what our intentions were over the years and all of those things. That's all well and good, but now we have hundreds of people taking advantage of our programs, and no one has had any issues. Everyone has had no, you know, there's been no negative police engagement. There's been no, you know, everything is positive, and a lot of people are benefiting from it from the town. We've formed relationships with corporate entities in and outside of town who like what we're doing. We've had kids get job opportunities from the Cooking with Cops programs. We've had kids develop themselves in a lot of different ways, and there's more to come. So I'm just saying all this to say we need encouragement from everyone down there. If you know people that are interested, you know, encourage them to come sign up, be part of what we have going on. It's free. We don't charge anything. It's staffed. It's safe, and it's offering everything that anyone could possibly need in order to have things to do in the summer, in the evenings. And, you know, we just want the community to continue to support the efforts that are happening. That's it.
Thank you very much.
I think Rebecca, you have anything else to add? I see you're back on.
Yes. No, I think, well, he summed up all the programs, but yeah, just to let you know. So once we do get that program launched, I hope that everybody who, well, all you have to do is just obviously live in town, and we would like to get your support by signing up with that is a good one, but specifically the unit will be out on Hamilton Street and in around Hamilton Street specifically as well to get businesses in that area, businesses and homes.
Great, thanks.
I also did put in chat a link for that Stronger Together page that I found.
Oh, you did? Okay. Okay, great.
Yeah, I found it. There was still a seamless doc form set up. I did
Yes.
put that in the chat.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes, that will
Pat,
change. So yeah, so that's it's still good to go. Like I said, I'm gonna relaunch it. We have to put the director's name on it and whatnot now. So does
Can I jump in?
anyone have any other questions?
I don't have a question. This is Councilwoman Kimberly Francois. I just have a comment. I stopped over the youth center about a month ago, and it happened to be a Wednesday night, and I was amazed at the Franklin Fit program and in the weight room. I couldn't even get in there. There were so many kids. So that program appears to be very well attended, and the kids were still coming in as I was leaving. So, I want to put a plug in for the police department and the program that they're running over there. It's very well received. The kids seem to love it. And, I'm really happy that we have so many kids that are participating and benefiting from that. So thank you. Thank you very much for Franklin Finest.
Well, yes. Thank you. Yes. That one is easily probably one of our more popular kids program, the Franklin Fit, as well as basketball too. That one Mondays and Thursdays. We have a couple guys who were semi-professional before they were cops, so they bring a high level of education to the kids. It's just not open gym; it's actual teaching. So.
Well, I think it's phenomenal that the kids get that exposure to police officers at such a young age. And have that level of camaraderie, that they're exposed to. It was really nice.
Yeah,
very nice. It warmed my heart.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how happy I was to see that.
That's I guess one of the reasons why we're doing this. I mean, we're depositing the work now in these kids, so that hopefully when they get older, it is breaking down the barriers and it will make them see cops in a different light. We don't wear uniforms to these programs, traditional uniforms anyway. And we're being with the kids, still respectful, of course, because we are the adults and they are the kids, but they'll see us in a different light and think about, maybe if I want to be a cop, I can come back to my town. And so if we're trying to put the work in now in these kids, hoping that it's going to come back to us tenfold later.
Absolutely.
There's more to come.
Councilman Francois,
Yes, sir. Councilman Wright.
we're still not going to name the building after you.
Oh, Carl, you're too funny.
He always has jokes.
Pat, the next thing on the agenda is the marketing subcommittee report. I don't know if Ben has anything to report.
Geneva's not here. What it is I just want to make sure that from next meeting, as I stated, as I brought up on the email, I just want to be able to introduce certain programs that we're trying to do for the spring and summertime, and also finalize the agenda counter for the events that we're doing. Being that we're past I guess COVID, I'm trying to get a update from Bo and the rest of the Parks and Rec about the schedules for the events that we can and cannot do for this year. So Bo was out last week for a conference, and if everybody's not aware, Percy's been under the weather, if everybody's not aware of that. So we're trying to get the agendas together and the budgets together for what we're going to be doing for the rest of the year. I think Pat and Geneva and also Vasanella actually had a conversation about the flags and other updates from the last meeting that we had. But as of right now, I don't have a finalized budget. I was trying to see whether or not we're going to meet next month so I can finalize the budget for what we're going to be doing for the rest of the year. So that's the only update right now that I want to give everybody.
Yeah,
Thanks.
we'll definitely get a meeting time set up, but in the coming weeks. So I do apologize. I have not gotten the designs for the flags done yet. It's just been kind of hectic on my side here. But if we could set up a meeting, I would say 2 weeks from now, possibly, that'd be great, because then, or even next week, because then I can have the preliminary designs for the marketing committee. We can kind of take a look at them, see what we all think, and we have 1 or 2 ideas per season. Bring them to the next meeting and see if we can get those approved. Because then by then, I believe we should have the decision from council on that. Vince, is that right?
That's the next thing on the agenda. Yes, under old business, we put 2 things on the agenda. The first is the 2022 budget, which we have the public hearing for Hamilton, and council's expected to adopt the budget very shortly. So yes, by the next meeting, if you come to me and tell me what you want to order, we'll be able to order that shortly afterwards. So we'll be in good shape. The other agenda item under old business is the street tree planting. The board asked Councilman Vasanel and I to go to the Shade Tree Commission and talk to them about funding. The Shade Tree Commission has recommended, of course, council, and since we have 4 members, I'm sure we won't have problem with council authorizing the funding from the Shade Tree Commission's budget. What we did is, after we met with them, I then met with CME, with their arborist, and with Darren, who's our the township engineer who does most of the work for us from CME. They are in the process of updating the plan, because obviously if we're going to go out to bid, the plan has to accurately reflect what is now there, with the changes in the poles, with certain trees, 100 or so trees that were removed. Some trees were planted, and also take into consideration the several new developments on the street that are being done now and then have been approved. So they are doing that now. We will then bring that plan back both to the Shade Tree Commission and to you guys to take a look at. We will then go out to bid in the summer, and then in the fall, when the tree planting season begins again, we'll award the bid and have the trees planted. But we're well on our way. The Shade Tree Commission recommended funding, and the plan should be ready hopefully by next month's meeting, which, by the way, will be in person, not via WebEx. So we will have a meeting next month so we can continue, because that's what we decided to do, to meet every month, unless there wasn't anything to discuss. So that's what I have under old business.
In kind of conjunction with that, if the plan does come back for next month, when do we start to discuss sections of the sidewalk that we'd like to continue with on that project?
Well, we can discuss that. You can discuss that at any point. We just have to find funding for it. But we can surely discuss at any point what you think the priorities are for what sections.
Okay.
And then we can go from there. That we can do at any time.
All right. So for next month, if we could just put it on the agenda, Vince, I'll send you that updated map that
Okay.
I created, showing the sidewalks that are complete and then the ones that need to be completed.
Okay.
They all might be a little bit shocked with linear footage that still needs to get done.
Right.
Because I remembered it was almost 7,000 linear feet of sidewalks. So it was quite a bit still. So obviously that's going to be a big chunk to try and try and take on at one time. So, if we can all kind of look at that ahead of time, Vince, if we could send that out, and,
Sure.
if anybody
Absolutely.
gets a chance, just take a ride up and down the corridor, see which sections of sidewalk look the worst. See, maybe recommendations and say, hey, this section from this street to this street really could use some help. That type of thing.
Yep.
I think that'll probably be the most helpful, most efficient way to try and keep moving on it.
Great. I'll do that.
Okay, great.
The next item on the agenda, Pat, is new business.
This is Carl. I have new business for you today. And it starts off, everybody loves a parade. You can't find one person that doesn't love a parade. And we're going to have a parade on Juneteenth, not the Sunday, but the Saturday before that. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to march from Pine Grove School up Franklin Boulevard, a left onto Hamilton, and a right onto Millstone, and dump into the park. Now, my side of the deal was all government. Okay, so from reserving Neiman Williams Park to putting everything in place as far as Anne Marie, she does all that little stuff in the background. Police, fire department, because they want to get involved. So we have a lot of stuff on the government side, and we're working quick on the private sector side, from the hospital change to businesses, Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts. We even have the Franklin High School marching band. Okay, I nailed them down. And we're looking to go after other bands, but we were waiting for specific information that we could send to all these schools for bands. We also have a float contingent. My fraternity, Omega Psi Phi fraternity, we went out and put a $500 deposit on a float. And we're looking for the Pan-Hell Council, which is all the fraternity and sororities together, to go in on one float. So that's a float right there. Our African brothers and sisters are coming in. So we're looking for maximum participation. So anybody have a question? Tina Jolly is our point person, because I don't want to step on people's toes if people have specific jobs that they're doing. Oh, and by the way, the showmobile, that's going to be in question because Somerset County, for lack of a better, threw away their showmobile, and they have a new one coming in. But I asked Commissioner Robinson, what day would that showmobile arrive for us to use? But the contingency plan is just go out and get one. Okay, but that's what we're doing. Hamilton Street, we definitely love you to get on board. That's it.
Anyone else have any new business?
Hey, Vince, real quick, just for the, I know you sent an email earlier about the approvals on the street, and you might have covered it already. Can you just recap that just in case everybody's not aware of what's going on the street? Because some people they might not read emails at all. So just just so
Well,
that they're.
Ben, I don't have the email in front of me because unfortunately my computer had a little bit of a problem, so I'm on the phone. Do you have that email in front of you that you could mention it?
Okay, so yep, I'll do it real quick.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Okay. So pretty much you have approvals on the street for that's coming up 789. You can tell me if I'm wrong, Vince, just based on what we're verifying off of. So you have approvals on the street for just went out. Following two Hawthorne is a 15-unit apartments that's coming up. 587 is approved, 9 units. 789, 25 units. Pending is application pending. 818, 840 is under construction currently right now. And as you said, I think 799, 821 is approved also, which is the existing gas station that's over there during the time frame. And then you talked about and then that was the only thing that was actually done, stated here right now.
Right, right. Those are the ones. Two Hawthorne is the one we haven't even brought to the zoning subcommittee to look at yet because they are redesigning it. When they came to us with staff, it was the architecture and look was not even close to what Hamilton Street or the planning board would even, or the zoning board would even consider as correct, especially since that would be the first building you see as you come in to the district. So they have gone back to the drawing board to redesign that. So when that finally gets redesigned and they have something that's at least worthy of everyone to look for, we'll have the zoning subcommittee take a look at it and bring back that to the full Hamilton board to take a look at. How long that takes, I don't know. I would say at least another month or two for them to do that.
Okay, and I just want to point out two other things. One is the reason why I wanted to bring that up is because I know that I talked to Kimberly offline about this previously. Just because we're doing a lot of renovations with the street, and I know Pat had brought this up about sidewalks. I also wanted to bring up the conversation about just designs and also lighting on the front portion of Hamilton Street. If you guys notice, most other main streets, they're well lit and they draw a lot of attention. From a branding standpoint, it's just something that we might want to start looking at, having a conversation with a lot of the resident building owners of how do we make it sort of like really attractive when people are coming down there. The designs of the building is going to be great, but we also want to get a sort of like a good feel of what it looks like when we're riding up and down Hamilton Street. And I think the designs are coming along great, but we also want to look at how we can, maybe work together with that, because we're going to have kids and we're going to have kids in the area because of the youth center that's actually in the area. And we want to make it as friendly as possible for them to walk up and down the street and feel comfortable, because those are one of the things that I think is going to create a great ambiance for everybody else that's here in the area to actually be feel welcoming at all. So that's something else I just want to point out during the time frame.
I appreciate it, Ben. Thanks.
And the last portion I just want to bring up is just from because I didn't get a chance to say something to Sergeant Hebon directly. Sergeant Hebon, I think one of the things that, just from a suggestion standpoint, from outside of the community standpoint, is that it's not about the program interaction that's there, and we can have this offline conversation later on. It's just that a lot of stuff that hits the media hits what you're doing publicly. And not to your fault of your own. What happened in Bridgewater puts a black eye on a lot of stuff that goes on with you guys. So again, there's a lot of people trying to work with that, but also if a lot of community organizations are speaking negatively at the time frame, you're just gonna have to take that black eye during a period of time frame, and that has nothing to do with you guys, but it has everything to do with you guys because of who you are at this specific time frame, and in the time of media. So those are just some of the things that I just want to say suggestion wise, is that the gentleman Damian Stackhouse over at Bridgewater with Human Services might be a great liaison to actually talk to you guys about, so that you guys can maybe work together on how you can go forward on a bigger level also. So that's just another ally and resource that you might want to reach out to.
Hey, Ben, don't demote the captain. He's a captain. That's really important.
No, I got you. No, I appreciate that, Ben. I agree with certain parts. I disagree with others, and I said, it's like you said, we could talk offline. But I do just want to say in this forum, since it's up, that we have to understand something about policing in New Jersey. New Jersey, as everyone here knows, each town holds their own police department together. And sure, you know, if something happens down in down south in law enforcement, yes, there's going to be negative blowback to a police department. If something happens in Bridgewater, it could be negative blow to a police department. However, I don't think that's a hit that we just have to take as a town. As a police department, I have thick skin. The officers have to have thick skin, and we understand what it is. But what Franklin Township has to really get on board with, and it's part of the reason why I said the things that I said before, is because we're trying to set ourselves apart from just being just police. There's a way to do certain things and be groundbreaking in what you're trying to do, so that we don't just have to take a hit when someone else takes a hit. You know, if we're doing something that's groundbreaking and the community starts to feel the effects of what we do, when something happens in Bridgewater or wherever, we know, okay, that's Bridgewater. Maybe they need to look at what Franklin is doing to improve what their relationship is. So that's the focus I'm trying to get out of is not just being prepared to take a hit whenever law enforcement takes a hit, because that's going to happen constantly, and we're going to chase our tails. Franklin could be the leader, and if it's the model for New Jersey, great. If it's the model for the country, even better. But we have to be able to put our best foot forward and start doing all that we can while we have the opportunities to grow in law enforcement. And that's how we make change. And that's what we're trying to do.
And Sean, if I can just kind of jump in here, and I think this is a conversation that's probably better held offline. And obviously, Sean, you know my stances on community policing and the public. I think I've been pretty outspoken on, you know, issues with policing, not necessarily in our township, but I think the important thing is that our town remains consistent in the programming that we're doing, because it's not going to be like, we can't, and I say this as part of a governing body, right? We can't force the relationship. We have to be consistent, and we have to be patient, and we have to be consistent and show that level of trust and build that trust over time. And it's probably going to be a bit slow going, you know, based on everything we're seeing, what Ben has pointed out. But I think the important thing is that, you know, you all at CRB are staying the course and do that consistent kind of positive community stuff. It may not feel like it's picking up any speed, and it may take those bumps and it may take those hits every time there is some sort of negative police interaction, especially for people of color. You know, it's going to be impacted, but I think the key is to be consistent and open and patient, and not necessarily force a relationship with a community that's just might not be ready at the moment, but it doesn't mean they're not going to be ready in the future. And it's just growing slowly and slowly and slowly, right? Like, I think you guys are doing a good job. And like, you just got to keep the course, and it's going to take some hiccups, but like, people are paying attention. And if you're consistent, they know it's not fake.
Oh, absolutely. And just to be clear, through all of this, you know, we've continued our course, and you know, our enrollments and our programs have been gaining and not taking steps backwards through this whole process. Wow.
Exactly. So it's
we're maintaining. We have a lot more coming, and we're looking forward to it. I mean, the department can only get better.
Yeah, but I think it's, you know, obviously on all of us to kind of encourage and highlight things that are going well. But I think to Ben's point, that things are going not well nationally and even very local to us. So, but as long as Franklin can keep their heads up high and just keep doing this kind of award-winning programming, right? And
Absolutely.
I think that moves in our direction. But I think to Ben's point, you know, I think this is like, it's a further conversation, and no, we talk about it frequently. I talk about it with the police director frequently, even though I might, you know, I'm low key, but like, yeah.
I got you.
Yeah. So, and the last point that I want to make on this, Sean, and we'll take this offline, is it has nothing to do with you guys personally, like I said, but like I said, it has everything to do with the image work of what's going on. And what happens is that if you want to make a big step, and I'll make this publicly known, this summer is where you're gonna make your biggest step, your biggest impact. And like I'm gonna tell you directly is that it's gonna be make or break because everybody's gonna be out. They're gonna be doing crazy things because they haven't been outside in a while. And it's gonna make or break what the relationship is going into the summer. So if you have a bigger plan, it's time to actually market that bigger plan and do what you need to do. And like I said, the one thing I'll say is that that I found out is that one of the things that the school board is being resisted on, which I don't understand, and I'll take that offline, is that they're not opening gyms on Fridays and some other things that are going on. So if the kids are not having something else to do besides a youth center, and there's going to be restrictive schedules, it's going to be hard for this town altogether because of what's going on population density wise that's going on in this area. And I'm just making that as a key indicator for the public safety people to say this is sort of the make and break time frame that you really want to get ahead of. And if you're going to be impactful, this is the time to be impactful. So that is just my suggestion from an outside point of view and what I've been hearing personally. That's all.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so I have some new business. It might not be new business to some, it might be new business to others. While we're talking about the youth, we are planning to have the youth center grand opening on Saturday, May 14th at 1 p.m. over at 429 Lewis Street. And we would like for the Hamilton Street Advisory Board to participate in that grand opening. So I'm letting everybody on this call know that we're having the grand opening ceremony. It's going to be open to the public. The public will have an opportunity to sign up for tours, and we'll be having tours throughout the center, and the youth ambassadors from Franklin Schools will be conducting the tours. And from 5 to 8, we're going to have a youth fest where the parent tours and youth festivities and service providers have meets and greets. And our police department can have an information table there as well and sign people up for some of the programs. So it's going to be like a community day around the youth center. We're going to have membership registration, food trucks, and more. So hopefully, if you hadn't heard about it, put it on your calendar and plan to be there on Saturday, May 14th at 1 p.m. So festivities will be going on from 1 to 2, the grand opening, and center tours will start at 2, and we will culminate the whole event at 8 p.m. from 1 to 8 p.m.
Anyone else have any new business?
Yeah, Vince, real quick, just because Kimberly probably didn't say nothing also, is that I just want to point out that there's going to be maybe there's a workforce development program that the county, that the township and also SCAP is running during the time frame, and I just want to make sure that people are aware of that. So that is one thing that is going to be there, and then also there's potentially another county program that with workforce development that's probably going to come out probably the next month or so. That is going to deal with construction that's pretty much going to come down in this this maybe potentially local residents can participate in, which I'm waiting for Paul Gazella to get back to me about. Great.
Question though. Ms. Francois, do you guys plan on having flyers to advertise this opening?
There should be some flyers made available.
Okay.
What would you like? You
I'm
asked.
just saying, just to publicize that people know that it's happening.
Yeah, well,
Because we don't have any formal medium of disseminating information in the township where it goes around that all the people in nook and corners know what's going on. So I'm just shouting it out.
okay, that's a good suggestion. Maybe we should pass out flyers around the area. The people that live within the area will get a notice as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah, Vince, that brought something else up too.
That's a good point.
Vince, I just want to ask, with us changing the face of Franklin of the Hamilton Street with these buildings and things approvals are, the ordinance that we have for the town and the main street that has to do with signage altogether, can we review that next meeting at all, or can we take that as a marketing subcommittee to look at altogether? Because
I would say yes, if you want to take a look at anything with the sign ordinance and want to make, suggestions, I'm sure the council, you have 4 representatives who come to every meeting here. So if you had a discussion and you wanted to talk about, my suggestion would be that you take a look at it, the marketing committee, have a discussion with myself and Mark Healy before we bring it, because there may be some things that we can assist you with or tell you, some things that have been tried someplace else. But I would say bring it to the marketing committee, have a discussion with Mark and I, and then you can bring it back to the full committee. And if you have suggestions, it's always a good idea to look at, updating the sign ordinance for something like Hamilton Street if you think it would help the district. That's a good idea.
Yeah. But the reason why I'm saying yes, I will do that. And the reason why I'm saying is because I know we have 2 billboards on the street that's going to be underutilized, and I think potentially with renovations they might go away. So I want to see what else we can do to actually help highlight the street as much as possible. That's all. But yes, I'll do that.
Great. And Pat, if there's nothing else, unless the Franklin Reporter wants to make a public comment, I don't see any other public here. So unless there's anything else, someone should make a motion to adjourn.
There's no other
Yeah,
public
before you do that, I just had a quick question for Councilman Wright.
Go ahead.
Yeah,
for it.
I just wanted to confirm that date of that Juneteenth march. That's the 18th, not the 19th?
It's going to be on the 8th, that's Saturday.
The 18th.
Yes, on the 18th,
Okay.
that's Saturday.
All right.
And the rain date, Bill, would be, I think, the actual Juneteenth, if it rains.
Okay.
on-
Cool. All right. Thanks.
Super.
Don't forget to come.
Someone want to make a motion to adjourn?
So move.
Second.
Thank you. I'll send a meeting notice out for next month's meeting shortly.